Hey, what's up everybody? Brian here with the Holy Roller playing craps on a cruise to earn a free cruise, and today we're going to talk about how to bet for the dealers. Bet for the dealers or tip the dealers? What's the difference? Let's talk about it. Here we go.
Welcome to the Holy Roller, where it's all about playing craps, earning free cruises, and a whole lot more. Thanks for watching. Now let's get rolling.
I'm going to do a $500 bankroll. One, two, $300 bankroll. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you different ways that you can actually tip or bet the dealers. Now, some people say, how do I know how much I should tip the dealers? Well, think about 10% as like, at least we're going to do 10% of our bankroll, which is $30 of our 300. So we're at least going to tip at least 10% or $30 of our bankroll. If we win, we can count up our bankroll at the end and say we win 400, then we can tip them $40, all together. But what if we lose, right? What if we have $30 that we've tipped them or bet for them, and we run out of money? That's okay. That's kind of the standard of what we're talking about here on the Holy Roller channel. So with that, the big question is, would the dealers rather us just give them money, or would the dealers rather us bet for them? And I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. And I would say the dealers would rather play with us. And whenever you tip the dealers, here's a little tip: never say for the house, because the house is not the dealers. The house is the casino. So we never tip the house. The house is getting plenty of money. It's built into the game. The house is getting money. So what you could do whenever you want to tip is you could say for the boys and girls, or for the boys, or for the crew, or for the dealers, okay? Or you could say for you when you're giving them the money. So let's talk about how you can bet with and for the dealers with your money. So keep in mind that we're going to have $30. So maybe all these ones, here's 20, so I'll keep that, and then here's 10, I'll just keep that aside. So I know that I'm at least going to do $30 of my bankroll. Now, if I win money, that would be great, and it doesn't really matter, but this is kind of like how I would recommend to do it, or how I like to do it. Okay, so let's say we're going to play here, and what we're going to do is we're going to play, and I don't usually play the pass line, but let's say you wanted to play the pass line, and you put $10 on the pass line. You can put $1 next to your $10, and that is playing with the dealers. Will be playing this one. Now, on a Royal Caribbean ship, they don't allow you to do more than $10 here. You'd have to go to 15. But at some land-based casinos, you could do 11 here and 1 here. If you win here, you would win the, let me grab some change here. You would actually win $11, right? And they would win 1, right? And so then they would take that, and you would take this, and then that $11 would be there for you. So that's a good way to do it, if they'll allow you to play $11 on the pass line. Okay, that's one way to think about it. You could do the same thing with if you wanted them to play odds. You could do double odds for them and give them $2 there, and play single odds, double odds. But know that on a Royal Caribbean ship, it's only single odds, but they won't allow you to do $11. So it's 10 and 1, or 11 altogether. That's how it would work on a Royal Caribbean ship. Okay, so same thing on the don't pass. You could just play right next to it. Okay. The thing that the hard ways, a lot of times you might hear this thing called two-way, right? Two-way. You might hear the words two-way, hard something, right? So if that's the case, and let me put this, I got to put this money back here to let me start over what I was. Okay, there we go. So you might say, what's a two-way hard 10, for example? What you would do is, again, you would throw in $6 or an extra, whatever 2 units are. And if you say two-way hard 10, they'll put you on the hard 10, and the dealers would be on the hard 10 right there in the middle. And all money would be all the way around here, and anybody that wants to bet for the dealers bets would go right in the middle of the hard ways, okay? So if you said two-way hard 4, they would put it like that, okay? So two-way bets are awesome if you're going to throw them into the middle. You could even do $2 and say two-way hard 10, and it doesn't have to be 5. So that's a good way to bet for the dealers, okay? So there's one way that you can get the bet, the dealers playing with you and get the bets out for the dealers. Now let's talk about the box numbers, okay? So let's say you want to do 44 inside. This is a great way to do bets for the dealers. If you just throw in $50, they'll set you up with 44 inside. So let me show you what that would look like. Okay, they would normally just put your bet aside there. Then they would do 44 like this. And they would put $2 here, $2 here. So there's 10, 12, 12, and 10. That's 44 inside. And they would give you $6 change. But watch this. If you said 44 inside and across for the dealers, they would actually take the $6 change and go right across for the dealers. So the dealers would be on. Now, on a Royal Caribbean ship, they put it here. On some casinos, they'll put it like this, or the other way around, like where this is here, like this. So you would know that that's the 10, 9, 8, 6, 5, 4. You know, it depends on if they put it on one side or the other. But on Royal Caribbean, it's right there in the middle, just so you know. And they might put it up a little bit so you can still see the number. But other than that, that's how $50, you're playing 44 and they're playing 6. So you might say, well, that's a little bit over 10% for my balance. Can I do 44 for me and 4 inside for them and get my $2 back? Yes, you certainly can. You could do it however you'd like to do it. All right. So here is our 44, and then they would lock up your change. All right. So the other thing you could do when it comes to come bets or don't come bets, which is the same as the pass line or the don't pass, is you could do the same thing where you would just go like this and put your $10 out with your 1 next to it. And usually it'd be just like that, just like if you're doing it there. And then when it moves, it would move and the dealers would move. I'm not sure how they would probably mark it, but they would probably market something like that, knowing that the dealers are playing as well, inside like that, okay? So the dealers can be playing. The dealers are always, it's always nice for the dealers to play rather than for you just to give them money. Now, some of them would like to give them money because there are certain things on a craps table versus a Royal Caribbean ship. Now, on a Royal Caribbean ship, you can't do what's called piggyback. So a piggyback bet would be if I bet $10 on the 5 and I put 1 right there for the dealers, every time I won, the dealers would win and that money would stay there. Unfortunately, on a Royal Caribbean ship, you can't piggyback. You'd have to bet like that. And then if the 5 rolls, they would win it. And then we would have to put another $1 back. So how you manage that money is up to you. But what I like to do is what's different on a Royal Caribbean ship than on a regular casino is the field bet here. Okay, so what I like to do on the field is I like to do a $6 bet because you could do $6 in the field. You could do 11 in the field or 12 in the, like it doesn't matter. But you could do a minimum of $1 in the field on a Royal Caribbean ship, even if it's a $10 minimum table. So they treat the field a 1-roll bet just like the prop bets, the proposition bets over here. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But if I do $6, right, for example, or and I win it, right? And I win it, then I'll give this to the dealers. I'll say for the dealers, and then I'll just take my $5, you know? And if I lose it, now keep in mind, I usually would not bet the field unless I had a 5, 6, and 8. So let's talk about that. Let's say I had a 5, 6, and 8 as well. And so that would be 30. This would be $34. And then here is 30, 34, 39, $40. So I'm playing with $40. So instead of 50, I'm playing with 40 like last time, right? And so, but here I have a bet right here. I know it's a bet for the dealer right here. Now, let's say I win, right? So I win, it's a field bet. and I win, and I just throw it in. At that point, I just throw it in, or I could say, get a 5 for the dealer, you know, and then it'll be right there, and I'll take my $5 and rack it up, right? Then let's say the 5 hits, and if the 5 hits, it's going to pay $14, right? But I'm going to lose this bet, so the difference is going to be $8 difference, right? They'll get paid here, right? And then I'm going to have this money here. I could take my 6 and put it back. I can take this and put up the 5 again, and I could bring $5 or $7 back. You know, $5 in the field or $7. That's how on every roll except for the 7, I can win $5 or $7, and the dealers could be winning $1 on every roll. So that's one way. Of course, double if it's the 2 or the 12, but that's one way to really bet for the dealers and keep the dealers engaged and involved in the game. So now let's talk about at the any two-way bet. Remember, two-way, okay? So if you do throw in, now you know $12 is the minimum because you can't do improper bets on a Royal Caribbean ship. So because it pays $7 for every 6, you can't put $10 here. You have to put multiples of 6. So 12, 18, 24, you know, whatever. So instead of giving them $12, if I gave them $13 and said for the 8 and you know, or something like that, then they'll kind of get it at that point. $1 for you. But an easy way for these ones is to say two-way hard 8, you know, and then the other way is to just say, give me the 5, 6, and 8, and then give them $3 and say, and you for the 5, 6, and 8. So then they would put them up just like that. So that's if we did that like that, and you know this, we'd always be able to pay the dealers, but it's a little bit more than $40. It's $43 that we'd be playing with. Now you may say $43, that's $7 left. You know, what are we going to do with the extra $7? You know, you don't have to round it up to $50 or whatever, or play even amounts. But the idea is, remember, we had 30, okay, $30 that we were tipping throughout. Now, you could just play this and keep in track, or you can just keep $30 aside and just say, I'm going to bet a stack of white, and I'm going to do 2 big bets for the dealers, like $5 bets for the dealers. You know, so like say a point is 10 or something, and you put $10 on it, and then you're like, and 5 for the dealers on the point, you know, and they'd be like, whoa, yeah, you know, they would really love it. And they're playing. So you can have your $30 set aside and make sure to have that in a separate area of your rack so that you can just bet for the dealers as you go. And then when you're out, you're out. You know you did your $30. Now, if you did your $30 like this and it keeps winning, and you keep throwing in your $30, by the time you'll probably be betting with them and for them a lot more than $30, especially if it's winning. They're going to get a lot more money. Okay. Now let's talk about at the end of the session when you're ending up and it's time to go. Now keep in mind we had 300 and we bet $30 for the dealer throughout our session, and it's time to color up or color down. Whatever we're going to do, we're coloring. We're saying here, change my money in. And if this was the case, like for this, they would count up the money. And so let's say you had $350 left. You know, you're up $50 and you already bet for the dealers the $30. So you might say, well, that's $35, 350, 10%. Well, remember, you already did your $30 and you only won $50, right? So if you only won $50, 10% of that is $5. So give the dealers $5 when you color up, or give the dealers 10% of what you won. So not your total bankroll, but if you're plus. Now, if you're minus, then you don't have to tip. But sometimes if you get some change back, like let's say you colored down and you only left with like this much money. You know, it's no big deal to go like this. Keep the 60 and give them the 2, or keep the 50 and give them the 12. I think that's a little bit much if you were coloring down. Because remember, as you went, you bet the $30 for them, and there's an extra $2. And when you color up, they'll actually just lock that up. You can also color up and then say, give me for a hard 4, hard 10 for the dealers, you know, and walk away. And they would know that that bet's for them, you know. And you could just keep betting for them the whole time. Well, I hope this video helped when it comes to betting for the dealers and kind of getting our minds around like how can we bet for them, but also use what's a good percentage, you know, what's a good percentage. This is just based on a 10%. And if you won big, they win big. If it's a long roll, they're winning. So remember, for the crew, for the house, for the dealers, don't say for the house. Don't say for the house. Okay, hopefully that helps. If you want to see more, watch this video and don't forget to subscribe. And I hope to see you cruising and rolling on a craps table soon. See ya.